what are the top skills that you need to learn right now? You have this book for kids. What do we need to learn, or people who are not entrepreneurs yet, to
Okay.
become one?
So I'll give you a strange answer and I'll start with classical economics. So in classical economics, they describe four moats. And moat number one is land, being a landowner, right, which was a really good idea thousands of
Still
years.
is though, no?
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
a bad way to park money,
Yeah.
but being a landowner was a very big moat in the agricultural age. Then the next moat was labor and capital. So those two moats were the industrial age, and it was about having money and having talent, having lots of people and having lots of money. The new moat is this entrepreneurial way of working. So we call the four moats land, labor, capital, enterprise. So the fourth moat that we're moving into is the enterprise moat. So enterprise moat means that you know how to spot opportunities, assemble teams, and commercialize opportunities at speed. So there are essentially people who are comfortable and know how to go through that cycle really quickly, and essentially, the skills that are the most relevant skills right now are these kind of soft skills, these entrepreneurial skills, things like pitching, things like visioning, things like ideation, rapid testing, conducting fast, cheap experiments to figure out what works, understanding multiple disciplines so that you can understand context and then bring stuff together. So these kind of weird skills that we don't really even have great names for, those are very relevant skills. If I was to also boil down like four things that I think are really useful at the moment, one is crafting experiences, so creating an experience for people. One would be building communities, making the right people coming
Personal
together.
brand or
Yeah, personal branding and communities around that. One would be building culture, so a really high velocity culture where you can pull together teams and have a culture of innovation around a team, aligning teams. So those are some of the skills that are kind of like becoming the most high value skills.
how do you teach your kids that?
So it's
Are you teaching them that?
yeah, of
Or not yet?
course. My kids go to coding camp, not because I think coding itself is going to be a really important thing, but the coding thinking is a really
Mm.
important thing. They also do media classes like editing and scripting and coming up with ideas. They also do woodwork. A lot of the holiday clubs are more important than school these days because the school is teaching stuff that you can regurgitate from a large language model. But, my son just recently built a deck chair where they started with wooden beams and different things and different materials, and they had to figure out how to build a deck chair. And he experienced hands on coming up with a vision, coming up with a plan, executing on it, and completing it using tools and all of those sorts of things. And he also got a new context, like value creation in a very different way. So, the two most important things that I think of is giving my kids experience of what I would call loops and groups. Loops are value creation loops where you start with an idea and create something and end up with a new result. And a loop could be a lemonade stand out the front of the house, which we often do, right? So it's an idea, we craft it, we create it, we come up with our way of doing it, and then we launch it and it's finished. So that is a completed value creation loop. And a group is the ability to put together a group who can work on a project. So the two things that I want my kids to know is loops and groups.
Do you think in this environment it's easier to make money as a beginner, or do you think we're gonna struggle with these people who just graduated and can't find a job?
It's both. It's the easiest and the worst time. So the reason I say that is there's more money than ever before. There's more opportunities than ever before. You can reach global markets faster than ever before. You can collaborate with people faster than ever before. You can find problems that need solving. We have huge problems. Every industry needs to be reinvented right now. There's so much to be done and there's so much money to get it done. So, in theory, it should be the easiest time. The reason it's not the easiest time is because our schooling system is rooted in the industrial age and it's built around getting people ready for factories and offices that no longer exist, really. So, the reason that so many people are struggling is because they went through this arduous training day after day after day for 12, 15 years, preparing them for an industrialized economy, and when they get out there, all of these skills make them very functional. But now we have automation and
Just like AI,
outsourcing.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like,
Uh-huh.
great, we trained you as a large
Yeah.
language model that's not as good as the current version.
Yeah.
So if you're a lawyer, you trained up to be a legal large language model, and you better be damn good because the basic LLMs are at the 80th percentile now. So
Mhm.
unless you're in the top 20% of lawyers,
Yeah.
so we're teaching people to do functional work that can be automated or outsourced way faster, way cheaper, way easier, especially in the West, because in the West, we're also in competition with low cost labor countries. There are accounting firms in India that are dedicated to British businesses.
Mhm.
Like they only work with British businesses.
Mhm.
There are call centers in South Africa that only work with, companies in more high cost countries.
Yeah.
So, whatever it is that you're doing here in the West, you are not only in competition with the technology, you're also in competition with someone who's armed with the
To all
same
other
technology
countries.
in a country where you can live pretty large on half the price.
Yeah. Where do you see the biggest opportunities lie for these people? Maybe the markets that you feel like have these problems, like you come and you just make money.
Look, every industry is going through massive transformation. And in the next 5 years, we're going to see every single industry wanting to upskill around AI. They're going to want to disrupt themselves or be disrupted. They're going to want to add new elements to their business. Every business is going to want to try and build community. They're going to want to become more of a media business. They're going to want to use AI in their hiring process and in their operational process. They're going to want to put more AI into their marketing efforts. The opportunities really are everywhere. Like you couldn't ask for a time. Like this is a time of massive transformation. But the issue is that we need to be able to see what is the game that's being played. And the game is that we're ending the industrial age and beginning the digital age. And if you do things the old way, you suffer. And if you do things the new way, you succeed.
Enjoying this clip? My name is Marina Magilko. I am an immigrant in Silicon Valley, but I'm also a creator who is based in Silicon Valley and is genuinely excited about everything that's going on. On my main channel, you'll find full interviews and deep dives, entrepreneurship, careers, AI, immigration, investing, all the stuff that helps you grow. Subscribe to that channel, link is in the description, so you don't just get highlights, you get the full story.